Hello and welcome back. My name is Jen Fetzer and I am a self-taught artist. I tend to paint with gouache, but I also do mixed media and acrylic paint as well. My ultimate goal is to become a picture book illustrator, and this is my journey onto that goal. I hope you guys enjoy the journey with me and that we have a good time together here on my YouTube channel. This is going to be a slightly longer video for me as it is a double page spread. As you can see, it is of a little character of mine, an original, a Yeti, going to a farmer's market. Not just any farmer's market, mind you, but a monster market. How fun! You might be wondering how I came up with this idea, and it's really quite simple. Back when I first started my art journey, well, I shouldn't say back when I first started, because really I have been creating art since I was able to hold a crayon as a tiny child. However, I really got into art again in 2020, and at that time it was, something to do, something fun, low stress, and a good time. Anyways, I made this Yeti illustration and I absolutely loved it. It got a lot of good feedback, and I started just coming up with these stories surrounding this Yeti, and eventually I made him have a sister as well, and it turned into this whole thing. At the beginning of the summer, I did a retreat in the Poconos, which is the mountains in Pennsylvania. I do live in Pennsylvania. I came across this retreat from someone that I follow online, Cass Windez. She is an author and children's book illustrator, and she was going to be one of the teachers at this retreat. So I looked it up, and it turned out it was pretty affordable for me in my budget. As a 40-year-old woman with a full-time job, it was something that I could do, and I decided to go for it. It was all about learning to write a children's book. And when I was in high school, I really enjoyed writing and creative writing, and other than my journal, it's not really something that I've kept up with creatively. At this retreat, I really learned a lot of great things, such as the pacing of a story and the fact that the majority of children's picture books are 32 pages long due to printing reasons. So, as I learned all of this, I really took the time and dove into this story of this Yeti that I had created and his sister. And I took it and I developed it into a full story. Now, I'm not going to give the story away on here, but essentially, this idea is a bit of a spin off of it. So this character is Norbu, and he is the brother Yeti in this situation. And in this scene, he is going to a produce market. He's exploring the fruits and vegetables to him that he didn't experience before due to the location he was at originally. That's something that I do more often than I would like to admit. I do sometimes drop my paintbrush. So what you do in that situation is you try to get up as much of the wet paint as you can, and then you take a wet brush over top of it and lift more of the paint off. I am using traditional gouache, so it is reactive in water. So when you take the wet paintbrush on the top of it, you can lift the paint off. The great thing about paint is it is very forgiving. If you make a mistake, you simply paint over it. You might have noticed much sooner than I that that is not my first mistake, as I spelled the word monster wrong. Don't worry, I do eventually realize that and fix that later on in the video. Much, much later on. And spoiler alerts, it's not the last mistake that I make. Going back to the retreat I went to, it was through the Highlights Foundation. If you're interested, they have a lot of retreats all about creating for the younger audience. So, grade school kids, middle grade, it's about illustrating and writing, mostly writing, of course. You might know them from their magazine Highlights, and they now have another one called High Five, which is for younger children. If you're interested in learning more about my experience at the retreat, let me know and I'd be more than happy to talk about it in my next video. However, I'm sure not everybody wants to hear about it, so let's go ahead and move on. For the vegetables in this page spread, I chose ones that I am growing in my garden myself. This is my second year of having a full garden, and I'm growing some carrots and beets. I just put the strawberries in because we do have wild strawberries in our yard, and I always grow zucchini or squash. One thing I love growing that I didn't show in this page spread is pumpkin varieties and different types of gourds and acorn squash. I didn't show them because I feel like they're more of a fall themed vegetable. Most people think of a pumpkin as something in the fall. I really wanted this to have a summer vibe, something just inspiring for summer. I don't know how else to put it. And I think all these vegetables really kind of share that, especially the strawberries. Everybody knows that they are a staple of the summertime. For this double page spread, the image that is on the left with the purple background, I feel like it's something that I would have done when I was at the beginning or, back towards 5 years ago when I first started painting. Like this would have been something that I would have considered more in depth and harder as a painting for a beginner. And now I'm moving more towards the scene that is on the right, something that is fully illustrated, that has a character, there's something going on, it's a full scene. Now, the issue with illustrating a full scene, and I think maybe this isn't the case, but I think because I am a self taught artist, sometimes what I see in my head is not what I'm able to actually do. I'm not quite there yet where I can just draw whatever I'm picturing and it comes out amazing. There are some perspectives and angles in the drawing on the right that did not turn out as well as they could. However, everything is still distinguishable. If you didn't notice, there was another little mistake, a little red drop of paint, not where it was supposed to be. So yeah, back to that. I just kept moving forward. Instead of overthinking it or becoming a perfectionist, I just moved forward. Just paint for the fun of it, draw for the fun of it. That's my current philosophy. Because if I get too held up and oh, why doesn't it look how I imagined it, then I just kind of get stuck in a rut or frozen, that ADHD paralysis. And I want to avoid that at all costs. So I don't overthink it. I just sketch it out and go for it. I just dive right in, get started, and get done. You might have noticed that I go from one side of the sketchbook to the other side in between the two different pages, and part of that is so that I'm using the same colors at the same time. This makes the process a little bit easier, and traditional gouache paint, it does dry out really quickly. I am in a room that is not well insulated and it's surrounded by windows, so it gets really hot in here, and I think that adds to them drying out even quicker. Part of the thing that I love about drawing or painting things like vegetables or organic items is you can really not stay within the lines. Organic items are irregular. That's part of the beauty of them. Carrots, although they always have a similar shape to them, if you make it a little bit longer, no one's ever going to know that your carrot was supposed to be shorter. And that's one of the reasons why you will see a lot of people suggesting drawing fruits and vegetables to beginner artists. If you go to a farmer's market, what is something that you always gravitate towards and buy? One thing for me is beeswax candles and handmade soap. I absolutely love those two items at farmer's market. Ooh, and honey. Of course, I love the produce, but because I do have a garden myself, it's not always something that I need. Whereas the other items are not things that I have yet delved into. You never know with having ADHD. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll have a beehive and start making my own honey. I wouldn't mind, honestly, but it seems like a lot of work. So I mentioned earlier that I live in Pennsylvania. I don't know if I said where, but I live near Philadelphia in Delco, which is Delaware County. That's what that's short for. And I live in a really cute little town. Recently, there is a show on Netflix called Tires, and it is all about the area where I live. It is really funny. If you're into kind of abrasive and I don't even know how you would describe it. It's like borderline, is this appropriate or not kind of comedy? But because of living in this area, it's really hilarious to me because it's so accurate. Some of the things that they say and do in it are just, they're just wild. I don't know. It might not be for everybody, but it is something that I am currently watching and I'm finding it hilarious. I'm also still watching the Apothecary Diaries with my son. We watch about 2 episodes a day during the summer on the days that he's here with me. He does split his time at his dad's house as well. And we are on episode 13. I have found a couple other shows that I'm interested in watching with him next, more animes, of course. And this one's enjoyable because it has a sense of humor to it that only adults sometimes pick up on, and occasionally I'll be laughing about something and he'll ask me what I'm laughing at, and as a mother to a 13-year-old, I don't really want to answer half the time because it's like, I don't know if I should tell you. I'm putting in the last final shots on this page spread, and you're about to get to see the final page spread. And of course, the mess made on my desk, which is always there for, I'm assuming, most artists. As you can see, I did add a little bit of text at the bottom with a little bit of a storyline. I want to thank you guys so much for watching another one of my videos. If you made it this far to the end, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.